Hello everyone, my name is Puneet. I'm a co-founder at Reskill. So I welcome you all for the second. Just, I'm sorry. So again, welcome you all for the second AMA session for Here India Hackathon Women in Tech, and we have received a lot of response from the women's across various demographics, and we have received several questions, and we also wanted to do. We are also explaining the problem statements again, so you can create your prototype as well as your presentation for the submission in a better shape. So now I would like to invite Bhageshri to take up on stage and explain the problems. And there are sort of there are some queries if she can also explain those. Hi, Bhageshri.
Yeah, hi. Puneet, can you share the screen and just open up the problem statement that we have, on the page?
Sure. Just allow me a second. Good to go.
Yeah, the last one. Can you open? Yep. No, the one after this. Yep. Okay, so I'll just quickly, explain the problem statement once and then address some of the questions that we have got from the audience, from the participants. Okay, so this disaster intelligence mapping system, essentially, what we are trying to do, since you all know that here is a mapping company and a location based company, what we wanted to do is to give you a problem statement there where you can use our here maps and you can use our expertise, as well as we can also learn something from the prototypes and the projects that you all come up with and submit in the hackathon. So that is why this problem statement is revolving around the map domain. What essentially, if you know that our we have any of these maps that you would say, the here maps or the Google maps or any other open map boxes, etc., they have a static map which we see, and the APIs that provide us the map of that location. But in natural calamities, let's say taking an example of floods, or in California you have the wildfires, or any such examples, what happens is that obviously the infrastructure and the maps and everything of that location gets affected. And what we are wanting to build a system where you can use the satellite images, or let's say some drone footages, or something that is being shared on the social media. Using any of these technologies, you are able to detect the affected areas, basically, or you are able to detect the infrastructure that has got affected, and you should be able to create a new dynamic mapping solution which will help you to kind of show the reality on that map, because it generally it would take otherwise time for all these services and all these mapping providers to give you that new real-time map of the location. So the problem statement is about creating that dynamic map and the dynamic infrastructure based on the affected areas. Now, for the basic satellite images, you can use, or the map, the base map, if you want to use, you can use here SDKs. It's not a compulsion for any one of you to use the here SDKs. You can use any other open source SDKs that you want to get your base maps. Satellite images, there are some websites which provide you satellite images, like Kaggle website, or India has its ISRO website, where you can get some sample data sets. Using those sample data sets, you can get the satellite imagery. And if you even do not get like a real satellite images, you can mock the data. The idea over here is to overlay affected areas on a base map, so that you should be able to create a new dynamic map. um, drone drone images or drone videos, again, is the same thing. And social media, a lot of times you see that when such calamities happen, there is a lot of news in all the different social media platforms where they sometimes share you the live feed, they share you the live locations, they share you the coordinates. So using that and using the NLP, you can use the social media feeds to kind of feed to your model and give you additional data around those affected areas. um, there are different ways that you can use this information and create your working model or the prototype. We are not restricting you to, like, provide any one specific type of project. There are different use cases that can come out of it. The best fit for that we would be looking for is, as I mentioned, like a dynamic map creation based on the base map and the affected areas. That would be something like, one of the best feasible options. But you can also create some other solutions out of it, like you can create a web based application and show that you can send notifications of the affected areas to different NGOs. There are different use cases that can come out of this, but the core of this still remains that you are able to detect and display the affected areas on the map. Um, that's yeah, technology wise we have given again some suggestions. It's not a compulsion to use these technology stack, but yeah, some of the suggestions are given here. You can use those, some of the models that can be used to feed the data set that you could make, and collectively you should be able to create the maps. That's about it, I think. So these are some of the examples of how to use it, what technology, everything is given in this. And if you guys all have any further questions, please, reach out to us or Puneet, and, we'll help address those. Um, Puneet, yeah, you can, have some of those pre-submitted questions. I can answer them. I tried answering a couple of them already in the explanations, but let's see if there is anything else we can help address those.
Sure. I mean, there are a couple of questions which came to us directly from the participants
Yeah.
that I shared with you. So
Oh,
let
yeah,
me.
yeah. I see them. Yeah, I'll try and address some of those. So yeah, one of the question was that since we do not have real satellite data, can we use sample data set? The answer is yes. You can absolutely use sample data sets. And as I mentioned, if you even want some websites where you can download the satellite data, Kaggle is one, ISRO's website is one. You can try those. But there is no restriction. You can use a sample data set for training your model. Should not be an issue. The second question is, should we focus more on AI's damage detection or on dashboard design? We would love to see some AI model detecting overlays of affected areas on a base map. And dashboard design comes secondary. So we would like to see some algorithms where it should be able to detect the maps and the affected areas. The next question is, what is the simplest way to combine maps, social media, and drone inputs? Um, I'll try to kind of answer this in a generic way. I'm not certain of what type of question, like where was this indicated to, but yeah. So as I said, so maps will give you. You can use here SDKs, which will give you the base map. Then you can use drone inputs and satellite input images to feed, which will be able to provide you overlays on your map, which we call as cartographic features or polygons, which will help you to kind of dynamically overlay um, these affected areas on a base map. And social media, again, as I mentioned, should be able to give you some live feeds, some coordinates. So you'll have to use NLP there to process that, get the data, and then all of this eventually should be able to give you coordinates of the affected areas, which you can feed to the AI model and create the dynamic map. How do we avoid making the next question is, sorry, how do we avoid making the disaster map look too cluttered. Again, this is too specific, so but I'll still try to give a general answer for this. For avoiding the cluttering, the concept of clustering can be used. You do not need to overlay all of the sources that give you the disastered map. You have to use all of those sources to come up with a final picture or a final polygon or a cartographic object which you can overlay on the basic map. So that would help you to make it less cluttered, or basically like single source of truth at the end of the day. And you can use clustering on your input sources. Okay, so yeah, these were some of the questions which I could see, and then yeah, you do not need to specifically use here SDKs. You can use external SDKs as well. What we are looking for is having like some sort of MVP prototype working model, which should be able to represent the problem statement in the minimum viable format. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I had.
I
Any other
mean,
questions?
thank you so much, Bhageshri. I mean, you have explained the problem statement in the simplest ways that one can understand and build on the top of it. So, if there are any sort of questions, we'll reach out to you, and as in when the queries come to us.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank
So
you all.
now,
All the best once again. Hope to see some of you in the finale soon. Thank you
yeah,
all.
and also the deadline is 30th September. So, request if you can submit your proposals by then, so we can have a time for us to review and get back to you for the top 15 list of the finalists.
All the best, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Avik. Hi, Avik.
Hey, hello everyone. Am I audible, Puneet?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So can you share my problem statement, Puneet, if you don't
sure.
mind? Okay. So this is about empowering the next generation of women leaders. She leads. So as the name suggests, I think all of you understand basically what is the problem statement all about. So in reality, in our current society, right, we have seen majority of the leadership role, women lagging behind a bit. Maybe there are a couple of reasons around it. Maybe they're not getting the right set of opportunities. We have the right set of talent. We have that capability. We have the skill. We have the technicalities, everything what we have, right? But maybe because of visibility, maybe because of lack of mentorship, maybe limited access to networking, we are not able to move forward in that direction where currently we have a lot of leadership in the men's role, right? So this problem statement is all about bridging the gaps, maintaining the equality, removing all the disparity that we have in our society right now, removing all the bias, right? So we wanted to ensure, we set up a platform. So this is more about a platform. So we set or build a platform where we provide the right set of opportunities to people who are aspiring to move into that role, who already have that skill and move ahead, right? So this is all about the problem statement. So what we are trying to build here is more, again, as I mentioned, sorry, a sort of platform, right, where we have those opportunities. When I say opportunity, that means we have the capability to actually reach out to some people, where I say those people are mentors. So we reach out to certain set of people in any role, maybe advertisement, maybe in IT, maybe in political aspirations, maybe other set of specific, journalism, wherever, right? Maybe charity, wherever, NGOs, wherever we have a specific mentor whom you want to lead or look forward. You try to get in contact with that mentor, understand what are already some of the sessions we have, how they have moved into that role, what are the challenges they have actually faced. So all of us will face some most other sort of challenges, right? What are the challenges that they have faced, but eventually they have overcome everything and they have moved into that role, right? So you take guidance and we move into that role, right? Second set is networking. So you might also wanted to understand, okay, there are a lot of other people who are already aspiring to that role. So what sort of basically sessions they have actually joined, which have enabled them to move into that specific role, right? So you can probably go into some courses which are already available. There's a live training that is available on a specific date, so which you want to enroll. So we build that capability as well as part of that platform. So networking and skill building will go sort of hand to hand, because we are going to enhance our skill. We're going to reach to different set of people who are already aspiring to that role, who have already moved into that role and went into that leadership position. So this is all in all what we want to build. Now, how we want to build, so this is basically what we want to actually build as part of this platform. So the first thing is a mentorship of the matchmaking algorithm, right? So there was one question I will probably answer simultaneously. So one question which was being asked in the forum was primarily, do we want to build an AI, or we want to go ahead with the simple filters? Right now, in the interest of time, people who are already into the AI, so Cooper is one of the matchmaking engine which you can probably leverage, which already exists right now. Else, you can also try to go into some sort of preference based filters, right? So what this all means is, as I mentioned, based on the industry, based on what role you're aspiring to, based on the experience of that mentor. So let's say, as I said, right, maybe Kiran Majumdar Shaw. So you want to go into some particular corporate retail area, right? Nika is one more example where we have Falguni. Then we want to go into some political, where Melinda Gates, you are looking into that level, right? So I mean, based on what industry, what goals you have, how you want to take the leverage, you can use those filters. You can create those mentorship matchmaking algorithm. Now, for the as part of this hackathon, as I said, it's up to you. Either you use a simple filter, or if you already have some exposure to AI, you can try to use that. Cooper, as I said, is one of that AI platform or engine which you can take leverage of. Okay. Second thing is basically networking pods and events. So again, you can actually build a sort of platform where we have, okay, you can link it to some existing, just as a sample, right? Existing webinars, some panel discussions, or already tech talks where we already have something in the forum, so you can probably link it to that. If you want to do a quick chat about this is your preference, I mean, this would be something complex, but maybe at least if you can build one or two, like a sort of webinar or sort of discussions which you can link it or integrate it as part of this platform, I think that would help, right? So that will eventually showcase, this is what I'm going to do, right? If in reality you have to build such sort of platform, right? So this is networking. Third is, I mean, this is important in the sense, the anonymous support forum, right? So I mean, we don't have the leverage to ask a lot of questions which you might be interested. So again, in our corporate world, a lot of challenges that probably each one of us all face. So you can build that sort of anonymous support forum, which if you have any questions, you can ask to those leadership. You can pose those questions about any of these items that I mentioned about, and you can get probably support answers from them. So I think a bot can also help, quick, how can I help, whatever we see in some of the platforms already. So you can quickly create that bot, and you can ask a question random. You can set some predefined answers for it, and that will actually help us to show a working demo, right? When you demonstrate that. Now, the fourth part is basically the skill tracker and the learning hub. Again, I think I mentioned about it. Any soft skill courses, any leadership courses which you want to aspire, any decision making, people management. So all these things can be sort of skill tracking and learning hub. You can actually show, I mean, again, taking an example of Udemy or Coursera, right? The percentage of the modules you have completed. So this will give you, okay, 50% of my course has been completed. Again, so this would be able to justify the set of stakeholders when you demonstrate, like, okay, this is like a model which I'm able to also present percentage of uh, modules I have completed so far as part of this skill training activity, right? Final is the achievement showcase. If let's say you can create a random certification show upon the course completion, this is the certificate I have achieved, so that any recruiters or channel partners or anyone, right, they are able to actually visualize that as well, which we generally post it in LinkedIn, right, once we are done with any of our courses from any Udemy or Coursera. So this is basically All in all, the core features that actually I'm expecting, again, time is a limitation. So uh, just to summarize, mentorship, you can have any of your preferences. Networking, you can just create a sort of, integrate it any with panel discussions, any webinars that you already have, just showcase that. A support forum sort of bot. Skill tracking, again, you can link it to any of our courses, just show the progress if possible, and some build some random certificates like the indicating the course completion. Okay, so this is my prerequisite. I mean, if you can form a team where we'll have front end, back end, UX, data scientists, again, last one, it's okay if you build a simple filter. I think this would no longer be required. But I think one of the question was, do we require only a UI part or a backend? Ideally, it has to be, as Bhageshri also mentioned, I would echo on the same part. Basically, we need a working model, an MVP, where it works end to end, right? Not just a UX, and it's not integrated, it does not show anything, right? So when you demo, the judges would definitely look for that aspect. So if you can build a sort of front end, UX, and back end, ideally good. Whatever we can do, at least that particular platform should be able to display end to end. Maybe one or two use cases, but at least it should be end to end, right? That's what I'm looking for. These are some of the guidance, how you can build this particular tool from the UI prototype, right? She leads. This is probably the first screen. When I click on get started, it probably gives me three or four options. If I want to go to mentorship, I click on that networking skill development. Again, I would leave it up to you, how you want to progress, but this is just a sort of guidance. So the screen is actually intuitive, user friendly, it's simple, and it displays the right set of expectation to all our judges, right? So this is what probably I'm looking at. These are again suggestions, architecture, flow, whichever. This is again not hard coded, or I'm not setting like this is only what needs to happen, but you can just take an input and see if you can use any of these technologies to build all these models, and build that intuitive screen, right? So this is all about. And yeah, these are my tech stacks. So I can React, definitely, and this is probably my backend ones. Postgres would be, you need to, I mean, you can also do like a sort of notification, like send a notification to the user, like, okay, my course has been completed. So again, it's very intuitive, it's more of lively session, working session, and all that part. Okay. Yeah, I think that is from what I have. Any question? I think one question, two questions I already answered. Probably should we focus more on UI UX? So my answer would be more UI UX plus the backend part as well. So it's an end to end, right? Integration, basically, what I'm looking at. How we can match mentors, mentees quickly. A simple filter AI. If you have some knowledge, as I said, Cooper, you can use, have a look. Simple filter, yes, you can definitely, because of the time constraint, you can use a simple filter. And third part was how much should we build versus just show mockups. I think mockups, if it is, as I said, if you can build an end to end which gives the exact flow, I think that will help the judges as well to understand this is what we are looking at. Mockups is not that ideally I would prefer. If we can build something sort of, a quick MVP, that would be the ideal way to actually work on this, right? So again, all the best of luck, and thanks everyone.
So there is a question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There is a one more question, Avik. Is it mandatory to include all features, or we can include few and make it better?
few should be fine.
Thanks, Avik.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
There is one more from Janani Ram.
Yeah, that is, what do we need to submit by 30th? A prototype or a plan for the prototype?
Prototype, right? Not the plan.
So I mean,
Sorry. Yeah.
so for 38, like for 30 is like a proposal, like what are their intent to build during the hackathon. So so the more details you can put in your proposal would be better for us to select the top 15 finalists for the hackathon. I mean, if you can mention like this is my plan of action, and this is the tech stack I'm using, these are the features, and this is the team composition that you have in your team. Accordingly, you create a synopsis and submit on the portal. So that's all. Thank you so much, Avik. I mean, It's really good to see the problems statement which inspires women in the arena of tech.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. So now I would like to invite Kiran. Kiran, request if you can take the problem statement explanation further.
Sure. Can you just share the slide? Yeah. So my use case is around the women's safety and security. I mean, how we can make use of the location technology to achieve the women's safety and security. So if you look at the everyday newspaper, like obviously, I mean, we can see a lot of crime reports are incidents are getting reported for women and child related to child. So idea is that I mean we have like government policies, we have a guidelines, we have a helplines, but all are like a more into the reactive. Like whenever the incident happen, these helplines or these guidelines would actually help us to act upon it. But there we are currently lacking a lot of solutions which are proactive in nature. So idea behind this application is that we should be having some kind of app which would be like a more proactive in nature, and how we can make use of the location technology to take the advantage of like reporting these incidents well before daytime. I mean, so the idea is that the application should be more focused around the four key features: the GPS tracking, geofencing, heat map, and the alerting. So idea is that I mean this application should work on the public domain information. So may you maybe reach out to like a police station, or maybe like there could be like open source data which would actually talks about the where are the frequency incidents happening. Now these are the like information available in the public domain. However, if you see the women and these crime reports, most of these cases goes unreported. So we should have a, like a ability so that the anonymous user can actually put that data. And I believe the crowd information or crowdsource information would be like the vital for our application. Most of this data would be gathered through the community itself. So we should be having the read write API support where any user can anonymously send this data to our application, and this data would be further used for reporting the incidents to the all the available users. At the same time, the GPS tracking. So let's suppose I'm the app user. I should have a like ability to enable the GPS tracking so that whenever we are approaching to such cluster where the incidents are getting reported quite frequently, I should get the alerts. So we should be having the support for GPS tracking. Not necessarily that this GPS tracking has to be active all the time. There could be like the options which works upon the intervals and the speed of your travels. Based on that, this GPS tracking can be enabled. So maybe like after every 5 minutes or maybe after 15 minutes to travel, this GPS tracking would come into picture and it will detect that okay, if you're nearing to any such region where we have like a high rate of incidents reported. So it should not be like a real time. Maybe like we can still have like some kind of wait period for that. Regarding the geofencing, so basically, I should have like an ability to define my own safety zone. So as a user, I'll input certain area or certain streets which are known to safe for me. And as soon as like I step out of that zone, I should get the alert, or maybe the near ones, or maybe the contact person should get alert like whenever as a user if you are stepping out of our safety zone. So we should be able to define this geofencing, and since this is a personal to the user, uh, I mean the more important is like we should be give this data more private to that particular user. It should not be fed to the community. So there should be like isolation between the public domain information where the incidents are getting reported. At the same time, as a user, I should be able to define my own data or my own geofencing, which is quite private to me. I mean, there should be an option like, I mean, as a user, whether you want to actually make it like a public or a private, but the default setting should be like a private. Whatever data I would be sending in or whatever the zones I would be adding should be private to me. Then the heat map. Now the heat map is quite important over here because when you open the app, I should be able to define like, or I should be able to see the areas where they quite incidents are quite getting reported quite frequently. So heat map is must. I think guys, we have like a couple of questions around that heat map. Now the how we want to visualize the heat map, it could be like the You can simply cluster all these incidents based on certain distance, create a polygon and highlight that polygon on the top of the map. You can use the here SDK, which allows you to have gives the base map, and top of that you can always add a cartographic features. And for example, based on your incident count, you can highlight certain polygon with a different color shading. More the incidents, maybe you can just put the make it like darker. So this could be like a certain ideas around this heat map, but I think the heat map is a maybe like you can say like a key functionality of our application, because simply at looking at the map, I should be able to define like whether I should be go alone in that area or should I take some precaution before I manage my travel to that particular location. So heat map is must for that. Alerting and messaging is something like as in when you like a travel, this app should work in a background, and whenever you are reaching to certain areas where there are maybe this incidents is currently happening or maybe reported long back, I should get an alert based on that. So alerting is like another important thing. So as a prototype, we are looking at like our your application should be focused on more all these four points. We are not seeing like, I mean, we don't need like a fancy visualization, because we don't want to just limit our audience to the like urban areas, the semi-urban areas, or maybe like the person or a woman like who has limited knowledge about the mobile application should be able to use our application. If you add the multiple language support, that is well and good, because not everyone is quite comfortable with English. Maybe like the local language support would be like add on, because we want to make this application more reachable rather than making it more complex and very fancy. So the application interface should be like a quite simple, so that within couple of clicks you should be able to achieve like the what you want. For example, if you want to alert your contacts, then it should be like a couple of clicks, because at the time of incidents you don't get like a much time to react upon it. So this application interface has to be simple enough. At the back end, we are free to use the any and platform, mobile platform, maybe Android or iOS. There is no such restriction. The UI should be like a simple one and it's easy to use. Having a support for a multiple language could be like add-on, but not necessarily like a showstopper. I think the as a prototype, you can still go ahead and select the one or two languages. And I believe the most like important is like, I mean, you should be able to demonstrate that okay, at runtime you should be able to feed certain data, and we should be able to see that okay, the cluster or heat map is showing that particular data, and as soon as like maybe you add the mock data around that, you should be getting that alert. So at bare minimum, we are looking at these functionalities at our applications. So I believe like I try to answer most of these questions. Do we still have any further? I can take those questions as well.
I mean,
Maybe there is one more question like which is which talks about like whether we have ready to use APIs for heat map. So heat maps are nothing but like the polygons. So we there are no ready-made application, but if you use the Postgres like database, it allows you to create like a special queries, and we have like a Java libraries, maybe like a special JTS or a special JS. So those kind of open source libraries would help you to create the polygon out of the reported data. So, and using the here SDK, you can actually overlay this particular polygons on top of a here map. So that gives you the heat map. At simplest one, maybe you can show the individual incidents on top of maps, not necessarily a clustered one. That is also good enough. But I don't think so. I mean, we need to have like any ready to use APIs available for heat map. You can create your own. It would be pretty much simple with the help of all the special libraries that we have. The second one is like talks about the GPS tracking without the training the battery. So if you're looking at the Android application, so there is a few location provider which helps you to define those parameters, like at what interval we should be fetching the location data and after a certain distance. So you can make use of those configuration and ensure that your application is like not making a frequent calls to the location and draining the battery. Third question is talks about like can we allow the woman to report incident anonymously? I think this is the you can say like this is one of the like a key function that we are looking at, because all users are not comfortable like revealing their identity. So we should be having the option to anonymously report that incidents. However, it would be good to keep these incidents maybe like at a we should be able to distinguish these incidents based on the with respect to the public data, because it might happen that there could be like a false alarms as well. So if you see like the number of incidents getting reported is getting higher on a site at particular location, we should be increasing this confidence. So so basically, we are looking at like a clear distinction between the public data and the privately reported data. Even though like it can be anonymously, but as a app user, I should be able to figure it out. Okay, these are the data which is getting reported by anonymously, and these are the like the actual data which is registered with maybe like a public domain, maybe with police stations or with the government agencies. Based on that, maybe the app user can take a further decision whether to go ahead with that travel or should avoid that area completely. Then the last question is about, is it okay to our prototype focuses more on the alerts than the full heat maps? I would say like the heat map is necessary. Maybe you can go ahead and show the visualization basic level. It should not be like a fancy one. But yeah, I mean, we should be looking at certain heat maps to be able to, we should be able to see when your apps gets open. So I try to answer all of them. Do we have like any further question related to this use case?
Not so far. Thank you so much, Kiran, for explaining the problem statement into a better way. So now everyone have I mean, the queries are now sorted. Now I would like to ask Rupali and Sachin to take up on the stage and ask participants to submit the proposals on time by 30, so we can have our own time uh, to vet down in a stipulated time.
Yeah, so let's aim to wrap up everything and submit everything by 30th. We are almost there. So it's just a final push to make this a success. Appreciate your effort and appreciate your effort so far, and let's finish strong. All the very best.
Right. Even I like to, give my best wishes to all of you. As I mentioned, as Rupali mentioned, last 5 days to go for the submission. Do your best and please don't give up. Whatever you have, maybe put in few late hours and try to finish your proposal and submit, and so that we are able to see as many as possible and call the best 15, to meet and present on 11th of October. Thanks. Thanks for the time you have put in so far. Yeah.
Weekend is around the corner, so just leverage it at the fullest.
Yeah,
Yep.
just want to add one more thing. Like we have seen, there are a lot of events are happening around us, and everywhere we have seen the disparity in terms of male and female. Like 20% of females are participating rather than 80%. So that's why we came up with this initiative to see more women enthusiastically participating in an hackathon wherein no men are there exclusively for women. So this is an
Correct.
opportunity to showcase something big, because if a women code, she can change anything in the world. So that's something we really wanted to come up and 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 build something impactful that can uh, love by the mentors and win the prize money as mentioned.
Yeah.
And
Even here, as I mean, we are a equally opportunity employer, but still we would like to promote and encourage, the the women in tech, right, to showcase their talent and come up with the ideas and basically make the technology industry better. Yep.
right. And if you're watching this Ask Me Anything session, request you also share about the hackathon to your friends and the one who could be part of this hackathon, because this is something which is really impactful for promoting the women in tech. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Rupali. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Puneet.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you,
See you
everyone.
soon.
All
Bye.
the best for every participant.